Why smart people make terrible financial decisions. Some of the worst financial decisions in history were not made by ignorant people. They were made by smart people, highly educated, experienced, confident. People who understood numbers, systems, and logic, and yet they lost fortunes. They trusted the wrong investments. They ignored obvious warning signs. They made decisions that, in hindsight, made no sense at all. This raises a powerful question. Why do intelligent people still make terrible financial decisions? The answer has very little to do with intelligence, and everything to do with psychology. Intelligence is not emotional control. We often assume that smart people make better decisions. But intelligence and emotional control are not the same thing. Intelligence helps you analyze information, understand complex ideas, solve technical problems. But financial decisions are rarely technical. They are emotional. Money decisions are tied to fear, ego, identity, social comparison, self-worth. A highly intelligent mind can calculate risk perfectly and still ignore it emotionally. That's where most mistakes begin. Confidence becomes overconfidence. Smart people trust their thinking, and usually that trust is earned. But over time, confidence quietly turns into overconfidence. Overconfidence sounds like, "I've done my research. I understand this better than most." This situation is different. The brain begins to believe it is an exception to the rules. This is dangerous in finance. Markets, money, and risk do not reward intelligence. They reward humility. When someone believes they are smarter than the system, they stop respecting uncertainty. And uncertainty is where money decisions fail. The ego cost of being wrong. Smart people build their identity around being right. Their self-image is connected to good judgment, rational thinking, clear logic. Admitting a financial mistake feels like admitting intellectual failure. So instead of correcting course, the ego defends itself. This leads to holding bad investments too long, ignoring negative signals, doubling down on mistakes. Not because the person doesn't see the problem, but because admitting it feels psychologically painful. The need to protect identity becomes stronger than the need to protect money. Intelligence amplifies rationalization. When average people make bad decisions, they often act on impulse. When smart people make bad decisions, they rationalize them beautifully. They create convincing explanations. This is a long-term play. Short-term losses are expected. Others just don't understand yet. Intelligence doesn't prevent mistakes. It makes them harder to detect, because the mind can always find a logical excuse for an emotional choice. This is one of the most dangerous traps intelligent people fall into. Emotional blind spots. Every mind has blind spots, but smart people often believe they have fewer. That belief itself becomes the blind spot. Emotions like fear of missing out, desire for validation, need to appear successful, operate silently. A smart person might say, "I'm investing because the opportunity is solid." But underneath, the real driver might be fear of being left behind, need to prove competence, desire to feel ahead of others. The mind rarely announces its true motives. Complexity creates false safety. Smart people are drawn to complexity. Complex strategies feel sophisticated, advanced, intelligent. But complexity often hides risk. Simple financial principles are boring. Save consistently. Avoid unnecessary debt. Think long-term. Complex financial decisions feel impressive, but impressive does not mean effective. Many intelligent people lose money not because they lack knowledge, but because they overcomplicated what should have been simple. Social pressure and status. Money decisions are never made in isolation. Even smart people are influenced by peers, colleagues, social expectations. Status pressure is powerful. The need to appear successful can override careful thinking. Smart people may invest, spend, or take risks. To maintain an image, even when their inner logic warns them otherwise. The brain is social before it is rational. The illusion of control. Intelligent people like control. They trust their ability to predict outcomes, but finance is not a closed system. Unexpected variables always exist. Market shifts, human behavior, external shocks. The illusion of control makes smart people underestimate randomness. They believe effort and intelligence can eliminate risk. In reality, risk can only be managed, never removed. Ignoring this truth leads to devastating decisions. Why experience doesn't always help. Experience can improve judgment, but it can also create bias. Past success convinces the brain, I know how this works. This leads to pattern recognition errors, ignoring new conditions, assuming the future will behave like the past. Smart people rely heavily on experience, sometimes too heavily. What worked once may fail completely in a different context. The real skill smart people must learn. The most important financial skill is not intelligence. It is self-awareness, knowing. When emotions are influencing decisions, when ego is protecting identity, when fear is disguising itself as logic, people who master money are not the smartest. They are the most honest with themselves. They question their own thinking before questioning the system. Smart people don't lose money because they lack intelligence. They lose money because ego interferes. Emotions go unnoticed. Confidence turns into blindness. Money doesn't punish ignorance. It punishes arrogance. The deeper truth is simple. The smarter the mind, the more dangerous it becomes when it stops questioning itself. That's the real reason smart people make terrible financial decisions. And that's why understanding psychology matters more than understanding numbers.